Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about the Sergei Strelec bootable USB toolkit. So this is another one of those bootable flash drives you could create and boot your computer into to do things such as, data recovery, password and account resetting, disk and partition management, hardware diagnostics, and even Windows installation and repairs. So if you've ever used the Metacat toolkit or the NHV 2000 toolkit, it's very similar to that. So we've done videos on both of those, so I'll link those in the description if you want to check those out, and that way you can compare it to this one. All right, so to use this one, you're going to need to go to their website. So it's kind of like a part in Russian, part in English thing, so you may have to translate it. So sometimes people get concerned because it's a Russian developer, or it might be Ukrainian, actually, I'm not positive. But this has been around, I think, for over 10 years, so it's widely used, so you should be just fine using it. All right, so when you get to the download page, you'll have several locations you could download it from. It'll all be the same file. And they also have update patches, so if you already have one and you just want to patch it, you could do the patch instead of the full version here. All right, so when you download it, it's going to be a RAR file. So if you try and extract it using File Explorer, it's not going to work because there is a password tied to it, which is right here. So you could use something like 7-zip or WinRAR to extract it. So I used 7-zip. And then you'll have this folder here with the main ISO file here, README information. So if you have some questions, you could always come to here and check it out. And then there's also some tools here to create your bootable USB drive if you don't want to use, the typical Rufus or something like that, or even Ventoy. Using Boot Ice that has some screenshots, SimBoot, and Ultra ISO. So just some options there for you. And if you want to export your wireless LAN profiles, there's a tool there to do that as well. All right, so you should know how to, create a bootable flash drive if you're going to be using a tool like this. But if not, we have several videos on that as well if you want to check those out. I'll put links in the description for that as well. All right, so I'm going to boot the computer to the ISO file here, and then we'll check it out and see what we have available. All right, so when you first boot the computer, there'll be a 10-second countdown, so you'll either have to move the arrow keys to pick something, or otherwise it's going to boot into the default one, which is the WinPE 11. There's also a WinPE 10 version. Search and start Windows 7, 8, 10, or 11, or you could run the Windows memory diagnostic from here as well. All right, so I'm going to start the WinPE 11 by pressing Enter. So it kind of looks like it's loading Windows, but it's not. All right, so now we have our main desktop here with some of the tools on the desktop. All right, then down here we have the main tool here. If you click on this, it shows you the list of tools categorized here. And so you could even pick a different version here if you want. So let's see, we have backup and restore, hard disk, Windows recovery environment, diagnostic tools, driver tools, network, remote desktop, VPN, resetting passwords, BCD editors, Windows installation, data recovery, utilities, formatting, encryption, searching files with everything, antivirus. So this will be offline antivirus, I believe. Defrag tools, CD utilities, video, audio, and graphics, even an old version of Office, hex editor, file managers, some desktop tools. And if you go here, you can go to the main menu, reboot and shut down. Then we have the other versions here as well. Then we have a command prompt here, notepad, boot ice again. So if you wanted to create some other bootable media, you could do it from here, calculator, file explorer. So it looks like a Windows 10 version of File Explorer here, screenshot tool. Then we have a start menu here with the same minstall tool here that we just saw. Then some WinPE apps here. So this is another way to categorize it. So similar layout, just in a folder structure here. And then we have some tools on the desktop. I've noticed for some of these apps that you'll have some additional tools on the desktop that are not in the main menu here. So you'll have to see if something's available on the desktop that's not here. So if you want to restart Windows Explorer, edit the registry, change your keyboard layout, turn the monitor off, even run disk management, browse your files with Total Commander here. Even go to this PC, which will be File Explorer again. All right, so let's just check out a couple tools real quick. Obviously, we can't go through everything here. So Macrium Reflect, for example, terabyte image. Let's see what the older version of Macrium Reflect looks like, because we just did a video on how you could use Macrium Reflect 8 in Windows 11 to make disk clones and do backups, since it's not free any longer, but you could do it for free with the older version 8. All right, so we have create backups and existing backups. If you wanted to create or restore a backup from here, let's just open this again here. Might be a little easier to get to things. All right, let's say we wanted to check out Mini Tool Partition Wizard. Copy disk, copy partitions, convert GPT to MBR, wipe the disk. All right, so that doesn't want to stay open, so let's go back here. All right, good old Crystal Disk info. Okay, not bad. All right, we have Windows setup for, says Windows 7 to 10, so I'm not sure if that'll work for Windows 11. I've never used this tool in here, so you'll have to see if it does that for Windows 11. I would imagine so, but I guess you'll have to find out. Network tools, if you want to open a browser, FTP, some remote access tools, even the RDP client. Data recovery tools, you could even find your Windows key if you want to do that. BCD editors, run the Windows recovery environment. We have some drivers here if you want to try installing drivers if you're having a driver issue. Formatting tools. We did a video on active kill disk before. So if you want to wipe the disk, it's a good tool to use for that. All right, various utilities here. Tree size if you want to find what files are taking up space on your computer. You can have 7-zip here as well. Password resetting tools. You could unlock BitLocker, Windows Login Unlocker. You want to try and reset your password from here. Most likely this will be used for local accounts, not Microsoft accounts, since those are tied to Microsoft. Defrag tools, probably not going to use. Hex editor may come in handy. Not sure if you would use any of these within your recovery environment. Same with Office or Notepad necessarily. Several file managers. Everything search, so this is nice to have if you're looking for something in particular. CD utilities, if you still have a CD drive. All right, the antivirus, but like I said, I think these are offline scans, and you're probably going to need a network connection to download some of these. All right, system tools. You could even run disk management from here, like so. Console utilities, say traceroute, for example. Loads it up for you and gives you the option, so that's nice. And then you could even do some encryption from here as well. All right, then we have the run command here as well if you want to do something from there, and another way to get to the command line. Right down here in the system tray, we have the everything search, the run programs, network connections, remove hardware, network connections here as well, and the time, which is most likely not going to be correct, but it doesn't really matter in this case. All right, then once you do what you need to do, you could come here and shut down and reboot and see if the fixes you applied actually fix it for you. All right, so as you can see, there are quite a bit of tools here, so you could spend quite a bit of time going through them all. But as you can see, this is a very useful tool to have in your toolkit. And if you do use something like Ventoy, you could use some of the other toolkits as well and just make a super master boot toolkit that has everything you need. All right, so I will put a link in the description where you could download Sergei Strelec, and then you could try that out and try out some of the other ones as well. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.